Check this out. So it's been said that a really good teacher can take a very complex subject and make it seem simple. I'm going to do my best to take something pretty simple and totally confuse the heck out of you with it. So let's have a look. What are we looking at here? On my bench, I have built a simulation body control module to show you how computer controlled switches and lights work. And this is the basic principle behind pretty well every component on a car today, and probably for the last 10-15 years. And the computer controlled lighting did start in the early 2000s, maybe in the late 90s, depending on what kind of vehicles you're used to working on. So let's see what happens. We press a button, and this button sends a signal to this computer. The computer sends a signal to a transistor, which sends a ground control to a relay, which then turns on my light. Pretty cool. When it's set up like this, ignore this part here, it's a pretty basic system. Our wiring diagram would look something like this. So what is the advantage of running the wiring this way compared to in the olden days? What we used to have would be our battery, which grounds. We'd have a circuit protection device. We would have a switch. And then we would have our load. Well, this had a fair amount of current running through it, which would then have to run up to the switch, which was inside the vehicle. In the olden days, we had a lot fewer components. We had a lot less wiring, so it wasn't as big of a deal. Now, it is much more efficient to run low voltage or even ground controlled switches through the interior of the vehicle. And then those would communicate with a module, which would then handle the actual switching of the different components. And that also kind of becomes important in order of operations on certain things to ensure safety of the vehicle and ensure reliable-ish, keyword-ish, operation. So let's break this circuit down and see what exactly is going on here. Well, let's start with the switch. Now, this little LED, that just simply represents the indicator switch like you would see in a vehicle. When you press a button for, say, your fog lights, there will be a little light on the dash that comes on and says, hey, your fog lights are on. That's all that little LED is. So I have my switch right here. And now the switch will, depending on the school of thought that you subscribe to, if you're familiar with Paul Danner or Scanner Danner, fantastic educator, he would call this a pull down circuit because we have 3.3 volts coming out of the computer, and 3.3 volts will be present at the computer side of the switch until the button is pressed. And when that switch closes, that would pull that voltage down to 0 volts. From the electronics world, they would call this a pull-up circuit or a pull-up resistor because we have voltage being supplied through the module. Doesn't particularly matter how it's labeled, we just need to understand how it works for if we're diagnosing this. So if we had our multimeter here, and we set that to DC volts, like we would see on a vehicle. Now, one key difference here is this microcontroller is going to send us a 3.3 volt signal, where on a car we would see typically either a 5 volt or a 12 volt signal. Still operates in the same way. So if we follow my switch here, this is my ground, and you can see that my multimeter is plugged in right at the bottom there for my ground wire. And then we go to, there's my switch, so I have ground goes to the switch. What do I have there? I have nothing on one side of the switch, and I have just about 3.3 volts on the other side, just like I described. Now, when I press the switch, it pulls that voltage down to 0. And it shut off my fog light. Now, notice that the light stays on or stays off, even though the voltage comes back up to the module voltage. Well, what's happening? There's code running inside the computer. Essentially, all this little switch is it is sending a request or a signal to the computer, asking the computer to turn on the light. This doesn't actually control the light. It just signals to the module that we would like that light to be on. Neat. So what happens next? So if you have a look at the computer, you can see that I have a relatively simple code that is running this. And then when I press my switch, If you look down here at the bottom, it shows light on, true, and the light is on. Light off, or light on, false, for when the light is off. Really basic oversimplification, but that is essentially what your modules on the cars are doing. They just, instead of controlling one teeny little circuit, they have a whole whack of circuits that they're controlling at the same time. Okay, so after the switch, we've discussed that part. Inside the computer is that voltage monitoring circuit that we talked about. So essentially what's happening is the computer is supplying 3.3 volts in this case, or in the case of an automotive module, 5 to 12 volts. There is a resistor, and then there's a voltage sensor inside the computer. So it's basically like a little built-in multimeter or voltmeter that the computer is using to tell how much voltage is there. So when the switch is open, it can detect 3.3 volts. When the switch is closed, as we showed you, it will detect 0 volts. Really cool. So this switch is essentially input data for our BCM. The BCM is going to process that information, and then it will output a command. That's what computers do, right? Input, process, store data sometimes, and then output. How does it output a command? Well, inside the computer, we have a transistor. On my board, you can see that that's the transistor right here. So this is a NPN type transistor, which means that it gets a power signal. A transistor is essentially, this is a very basic term for it, but it's essentially a solid state relay or an electronic relay. It works just like an automotive relay, but there aren't any mechanical moving parts. So in theory, it should be more reliable and more precise. So with the switch open, the transistor is open internally, and you can see that I have a ground that flows through the transistor. So when the computer decides to close that switch, because it sent out its signal, closes the switch, then the transistor completes its circuit internally, and ground gets passed through the transistor to our relay. So this would be pin 85 of the relay, which is the coil side. Pin 86, so you're going to have ground at pin 85. You'd have power at pin 86, and then that will create a magnetic field that will close the relay, and then we have power. This would be pin 30, our common terminal, that would then get sent to pin 87 of our 4-pin relay, which sends power to our light, and then our light would illuminate, which is exactly the case of what is happening here. So the diagnostic process for this is very similar to what you might see in an old school circuit like this one, but you just have to be aware that, okay, this switch, what are we going to have? We would have 12 volts on this side. With the switch open, we'd have 0 volts here. Once the switch is closed, we would have 12 volts on both sides of the switch. The light would illuminate, and then 0 volts would be over here. So very, very similar, just a few different steps in it. This module control may seem like it's more complex, and it certainly is when we're just running one light bulb, but when you think of the plethora of different components that have to operate and operate in unison, so think of something fairly simple. You turn the turn signal on and the headlight goes out to give you better visibility of the turn signal. Much easier to control multiple processes like that using modules than it would be having everything hardwired. The other advantage to using modules for the control systems, very, very low current required here, much smaller wires, much lighter weight. So the modules are in central locations, and then they have inputs that communicate with the modules, and then the modules are able to output the commands and keep them running more efficiently. So I hope this helps you understand computer control circuits a little bit better, or at least kind of get an idea of how they work, even if you don't have a full understanding of them. This is a oversimplification of the process, but it's going to be probably enough for what you need to know to help you fix whatever it is that you're working on. So if this helped, please let me know in the comments, and let me know what your experiences were with any type of computer controlled modules or situations like this. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.